How you guys doing? I'm Flexinja. I'm 25 years old and I'm a content creator for NRG. I pretty much just play Valorant and I exclusively play Omen pretty much. I'm going to be answering some questions about my warm-up routine and my settings for both Aim Lab and Valorant. Alright, so now I'm going to go over my Valorant settings here. For general, my aim sensitivity is 0.44. Scoped sensitivity multiplier is 0. I turn this down, the scope sensitivity multiplier, because usually when I do off in those rare occasions or when I'm ADSing, I always overflick, so I turn that down a little bit. So I think that was the big key change for ADSing for me. Scrolling down, pretty much everything is kept on default here. Show blood I have off. It just looks a lot cleaner. Show corpses on. Some people like to turn it off, so it just looks like digital characters above their their corpses. I like to keep it on. It just looks a lot cleaner recording wise. So pretty much everything else default. Going over to the controls here, I have everything on default pretty much. All my abilities default. I never was a fan of changing my keybinds for certain abilities. The only thing I change my keybind for equipment here is, I think it's my ability one. If I'm playing Raze, I have to switch my satchel to mouse button, but I barely play Raze, but I can't play Raze if I don't switch my Q to a mouse button. So fun fact. Yeah, so pretty much everything in control default. I just never really touched that. As for crosshair, all right, so my crosshair is 1142 right here. It's like a small little square. It's a hollow square pretty much. A lot of people are actually running this crosshair and I really like it, and I haven't changed it in a while. I'm typically someone that doesn't really care about what their crosshair looks like, but for the most part, this is what I've been running for probably a few weeks now. Go to right here, 1142. Go into the video settings, full screen, 1920 by 1080. I don't use any stretch res or anything like that. I limit my FPS in the menus, like, a lot of people ask me why is my FPS 60 when I'm just sitting in the menu. I don't think you need more than 60 FPS when you're just chilling in the menu. I limit my FPS in game to 240 because I have a 240 Hz monitor. And moving on to my graphics quality, I have all material, detail, and UI low with a medium texture. I think the medium texture just makes everything look a little bit better. With low, the guns don't look as cool. With medium, they look a lot cooler. So it's just a little bit of FPS drop for the medium, but that's fine. I still get above 240, which is nice. So everything is off. As for everything below the qualities here, everything is just off. I just don't really care about what the in-game looks too much, as long as the textures look readable and they look nice. As for effects, I don't really care too much. I just care about performance. I think performance is just better overall. With higher settings, if I had a more high-end PC, which I might build in the future, I would rock a lot more high settings. But as for right now, I run off because streaming with one PC takes a lot of performance, so this is just more optimal for me. As for stats, I use text only for FPS, hide everything else. Audio, I put my master volume, halfway. A lot of people have their master volume maxed out. I can't play like that. It's too loud for me. So I usually use like a half. Just so it's easier on my ears. So if you go to aimlab.gg, you can actually see your profile and see how you can track your progress pretty much of like how you're doing. You can there's a history tab right here. You go to history, you can see your grid shot scores, you can see your Valorant Combine scores. Overall, just keep progress of your improvement overall. Going back to the Aim Lab, I am bronze 4. Definitely gonna improve that for sure. Kind of new to Aim Lab, and I'm gonna keep pressing forward with that. Yeah, there's a lot of columns and what you can see here for stats, and it's just, I think it's cool just to see how you improve over time. Shout out to Aim Lab for actually having a kind of history of what your past looks like in Aim Lab. Just see how you improve. Alright, I'm gonna go over my settings on Aim Lab real quick. So for the audio here, sometimes it's important for me to turn off the audio. So if I'm playing like grid shot or something, I'll usually turn off my audio all the way. So it's like you don't hear the targets breaking and you don't hear yourself whiffing. So I think that can be important when you want to improve your score. Sometimes I like to keep the audio on just a minimum just to hear the targets break. But also it's like I feel like once I hear myself whiff in grid shot or something, I start whiffing way more. So sometimes I just listen to music, turn off the audio in Aim Lab, and I feel like I just perform a lot better. But I do use audio when I run through the Valorant Combine, which helps me a lot. Going on to the graphic settings, everything's pretty much default except for all this FX stuff. I have this off. You know, I don't think I need much you know, FX going on when I'm just warming up with my aim. It's not about how it looks, it's about how well you can perform when you're warming up, that's for sure. Controls, going on to controls here. My mouse sensitivity right now is 0.64. I have 800 DPI with a field of view of 102. This kind of resembles my Valorant sense in a way. I think it's kind of important to stick to a sense that's close to your in-game sense, just so that like it just feels familiar from Aim Lab to Valorant to Aim Lab. Moving down below, you know, ADS sensitivity. I don't really ADS in Aim Lab. Field of view. What is ADS field of view? I don't think I've ever set that. As for anything below this, the sensitivities, I haven't really got into this stuff. This is kind of like just default settings here. I mainly just play Valorant Combine and Grid Shot myself. Moving down to crosshair here, I have it's like a small plus sign, a yellow small plus sign here. You know, 1.12 length, thickness 2.699, center gap, dot size, circle, outline all 0, and you know, 255 for red, green, and all no blue. Going to game, everything's pretty much default except for I have a first person default camera mode with the weapon visibility hidden. Sometimes I think it's helpful when you don't have the weapon showing on the screen. Sometimes I do put that on for Valorant Combine, so I actually like mimic what it looks like in Valorant. But I think for the most part, I think with a hidden weapon visibility, especially if you're playing like grid shot, it flows better without seeing the weapon. Obviously, you're gonna see your weapon in game, but for aim training purposes, I think it's better to hide your weapon. Key binding. I haven't really touched key binding, so everything for key binding it remains the same. Alright, so there's the custom tab at the very top here. You can actually go to gray box and you can kind of mess around with the settings for the background and layout here. I pretty much run 111 just for so it's just a gray color in the background. For tiling, you can mess around with this. I run 0 just to smoothen it out. Smoothest, you know, it's just like the texture on the walls here. I just go full max just to make it more smooth. Reflections, I keep it all the way 0 just so it's just as bright as it can be. Or you could just go full tens mode and go all black. I have to try this out. This is what tens does sometimes. This looks promising. I'm gonna try this out for grid shot. Just so like this mode right here, you just see the targets, nothing else, and I feel like that could actually be beneficial. As of right now, so when I start my stream, I play like one deathmatch on Valorant. I then go to Aim Lab and then play Valorant Combine for one run. I'll play a few sessions of grid shot and then I'll jump back into another deathmatch of Valorant and then I'll start playing ranked. I don't have a typical period of time I give myself to warm up. I kind of just do what I feel like. Sometimes I don't even warm up. It's weird. Sometimes I don't warm up and I do really well, but sometimes I really need that warm up because I'm just rusty and the first game's kind of a drag. So I usually spend time to give myself like, you know, enough time to warm up at least. Like the thing that works for me is playing that one deathmatch, going to Aim Lab, and then playing another deathmatch. That's kind of like my set in stone warm up routine right now. I'm gonna stick by it. There are days that I just never feel like I can fully warm up, and that's just because we're human. We feel different every single day. We're not gonna feel the same exact as we did yesterday, so it's like there's gonna be days where we're just completely off. No amount of warm up that we do is gonna make us feel good. We're not gonna play well in games. We're just human, and yeah, bad days happen in gaming and just in every aspect of life, so no day is gonna be the same. To me, warming up is important, but you're not gonna have the same outcome every single day, so. How do you determine when you're fully warmed up? When I feel like I'm warmed up is like I don't have to think about my aim a lot. I don't think too much about my aim in general. It's just like sometimes I feel a little bit slower, and to get past like that, to like grease up my arm per se, if you wanna think my arm is like a robotic arm, grease it up a little bit by warming it up through deathmatch or Aim Lab. It's just like it gets it moving, and I think that's important. Is just like actually moving. Because like when I first start off, or like if I play deathmatch the very first time, I notice how slow my movement is, and once I start progressing and actually just putting time in to warm up, it's gonna start picking up pace and I'm gonna feel like myself. So as for caffeine intake, I pretty much just drink coffee in the morning. My typical day, if my schedule's not messed up, early into the morning, like 4 or 5 in the morning, go to the gym, and then I'll play 8 hours of gaming, like just 8 hours of games, Valorant, and I'm trying to like incorporate Apex Legends into my schedule too. Also like warming up with Aim Lab. I think the caffeine, I would say that it helps me just wake up a little bit better. I've been so accustomed to caffeine, so I can't imagine, you know, playing video games without it. So it's kind of like my schedule, just wake up and get caffeine. When I'm warming up, I want to be, you know, more relaxed. Sometimes I feel like I'm not relaxed, and warming up helps me relax a little bit. Like I notice myself sometimes I grip my mouse a little bit tighter when I'm not relaxed, and that's not really that good for aiming in my opinion. When you aim in games, you kind of want to flow. You don't want to be putting a lot of pressure in your mouse. Like I actually physically feel myself gripping my mouse a little bit tighter when I'm not relaxed. So just that little warm up and whatnot helps me relax, and I think it's important to get into a relaxed state when you're actually aiming. Because if you're not feeling relaxed, I feel like you're feeling more pressured, and that leads to bad aiming habits. So I think entering that like full state, that relaxed state, that's the key. I've never had the same routine. Obviously, with Valorant coming out, it kind of changed up my routine for any gaming in general, because like Valorant has its own deathmatch, and Aim Lab being you know, in its beta, its early access stage. So it's kind of like there's things that came along the way to help me warm up better, especially, you know, since I'm playing Valorant, which is primarily a new game since last year. But prior to Valorant coming out, I played other FPS games like Black Squad or Alliance of Alien Arms, and usually to warm up in those games is kind of something similar. You go into like a deathmatch or something, and it's like a free-for-all, and you just kind of warm up your aim there. Something to that nature, I think is what I've always done, like deathmatch where everyone's versus each other. A little bit more stressful, more high energy, and I think I've always warmed up my aim. For the most part, I don't think I ever just like go into a game. If you're a beginner, I'd say if you want to create a routine, I'd follow what I do. I recommend actually just going into a deathmatch. So go into a deathmatch, then hit the Valorant Combine on Aim Lab, and then play Grid Shot about like 3 or 4 times, and then go into the deathmatch again. Just see how you improve from that first deathmatch to the second deathmatch. Just keep note of just how you're performing, how your aim is flowing better. I think it's important to keep track of like what works for you. I notice a huge improvement when I do play Aim Lab in between those death matches. I think it just like I just feel more warmed up completely when I do you know, play Aim Lab between those 2 death matches. I think it's important, just get your blood flowing really, because like that first death match is always a rough one. So like I'll usually finish 20 kills. It's a 40 kill like win. I'll usually finish like 20-25 kills, and then I usually win the second deathmatch that I play. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video and learned a little bit more about my, you know, warm-up routine and my settings. Like the video if you enjoyed it, and if you want to see more content, just let me know what you want to see from me next, because there's a lot more content to be made around all of Aim Lab, and you know what kind of warm-ups and like challenges we could do. In the future, you'll be seeing me and Ethos, you know, go head to head, maybe in verse 10s. Please have mercy. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed the video, and see you in the next one. Peace.